All right, we are in our third match. His hand's not particularly good, so we're going to mulligan it. I mean, technically we have a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 4-drop, but they're all just, you know, it's just kind of awkward. Oh, I was afraid of this. I think we're going to have to mulligan this one too. If this was a Plains, I would consider keeping it. Keep this, put our 5-drop on the bottom. We do get to be on the play, and we do have a powerful hand. So we're going to need to draw a land, but if we can draw one land, we might be in okay shape. Come on, really want a land. And last week, I did a video on a blue-red burn deck. It looks, and that looks like what we might be up against. So that's kind of cool. Got our third land, but not the one we wanted. Funny enough, our opponent's deck plays Fevered Visions. So I have a few options here. I think I'm actually going to play the Veteran Motorist. And the main reason for that is it'll make my Smuggler's Copter a 4/4. And while this blue-red deck does have a few lightning axes, most of its stuff just hits for 3. So I think this is the best disposable creature that I have access to. Don't want any of those. I think I actually really want my Gideon to get into play. And there's no opportunity for my opponent to deal 3 damage to this Smuggler's Copter and kill it. So that's really nice. All right, so I want to keep my Gideon, and I want to keep that Plains, even though obviously I'm worried about flooding out. So the decision point is, do I keep Pia or Depala? I think I want to keep the Pia because I think Depala is more likely to die. I don't think I'll actually be able to get much card advantage out of her. But if my sequence is going to be turn 4 Gideon, and then, yeah, I think actually the Pia can go. And one of the reasons for this is also because it'll make it so that when I activate my Copter, which will be not next turn, but the following turn, maybe I'll have drawn another land, my Copter will at least initially be a 4/4. So that's kind of nice. Could do that right now. The one thing that I would need to worry about is if my opponent has something like Collective Defiance. That would actually be quite annoying. Who's this counterspell? Wow. Do play a small number of Void Shatters. So that can't be too much of a surprise. So even though I mulliganed a lot, this might be a game where these Needle Spires are actually impactful. Would that be something? Is there another Void Shatter? Sweet. Definitely going to use that for the full amount. Got nothing, but whatever. And there's a good chance that my Copter does not get a chance to attack, but, oh, got lucky, sweet. Let's see what my opponent decides to do. Seems like if my opponent had some way of killing the Copter, he would have done so already, so. I'm starting to deal some good damage. Wow, Glimmer of Genius. Okay, so this was not in the deck that I played. So this seems like a more controlling version of the blue-red deck. Might even be missing a color and be blue-red-black. Maybe even blue-red-white. Thing in the ice. Well, alright. I can't do anything about that. And against the blue-red aggressive version, there might have been a chance for me to basically attrition it out. But if my opponent's playing with cards like Thing in the Ice, that's going to be much harder. Guess I do this. I think I would rather trade my Copter than my land, given this situation. Oh, he's letting me attack with it. Seems like he really just doesn't have an answer for my Copter, which I find kind of surprising. I wonder what's in his hand. I wonder if he just has a bunch of Torrential Gearhulks or something like that. Torrential Gearhulk plus Thing in the Ice is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. Wow, and my opponent's getting aggressive. I wonder if there's any way that my opponent just has nothing going on. He's got to have a Harnessed Lightning or something here. Ooh, Veteran Motorist, that's good. It's real good, actually. Alright, do I want both of these cards? I think I want both of them. Maybe I shouldn't have kept that other Harness Lightning. I do have an opportunity to kill the thing in the ice with both of them. But I don't know. I'll stick with my original plan. Dude, this is kind of crazy. I am starting to think that my opponent has like black in his deck and he hasn't drawn black lands or something like that. If there's a third color, it's now online. So for 2, I think that's a good opportunity to try to kill this thing. Now, if he's going to let this Radiant Flames resolve, he's going to lose this thing in the ice. And if he wants to try to cast 2 cantrips, he's going to be able to flip his thing in the ice, but I don't know what value he's going to be able to get, and I'll be able to get my creatures back. So, and I have an answer for the next thing in the ice because I have a energy. He hasn't killed my Smuggler's Copter so far. Always Watching is pretty sweet with Needle Spires, to be fair, but I think I want to hold on to this Harness Lightning. Not only can it kill a future thing in the ice, it can also kill a Wandering Femoral. Man, and this Smuggler's Copter's done work. Got played on turn 2. And it's helped filter my draw. It's really just done it all. And if this was a normal creature, could have bounced with Chase, but wow, he just didn't have what he needed. Pretty unbelievable. Okay, so the cards that I believe are on the chopping block are these ones. I don't really want to take out any of my threats. Although I certainly want some answers to thing in the ice. What if this is a matchup where I want the Reckless Bushwhacker? Seems kind of nice. I don't think I need all 4 Stasis Snares, considering I have 2 Chandras that can deal with the thing in the ices. Although my opponent's most certainly going to have Weaver of Lightning. So maybe because of that, I actually want the 4th Gideon and the 4th Stasis Snare rather than the Bushwhackers. If we were up against like straight white-blue, I think what I would do is I would have these Reckless Bushwhackers, but because we're up against blue-red, I think the extra Planeswalker and Stasis Snare is going to be a little more potent. Yeah. I really do want these Reckless Bushwhackers, but I think because there's Thing in the Ice, I just need to have these 6 cards here. And this is a very weak hand. I think it's safe to mulligan. Sand's a bit better, not by much. But going down to 5 cards is awful, so bad. Sure, I'll have another guy. Hopefully it doesn't die to Weaver of Lightning. I do have good mana. I can cast Chandra and Gideon. So that's certainly a plus. And it is nice that currently all my threats fly. Get this in underneath the Void Shatter. Wow, negate. Says a lot when you can bring in negate against the aggro deck. It's pretty crazy. Is this a Weaver? Yep. This means I won't be playing my Selfless Spirits. I guess I can play Depala. It's probably just going to die, but, you know, whatevs. It's not like I'm going to play my Selfless Spirit first, then my opponent would just be able to play like a card draw spell and kill it for free. It would be real bad. And who knows, maybe I just rip a Chandra off the top. I can kill this Weaver of Lightning before even playing my Selfless Spirits. I wonder if my opponent will have a Chandra here. Rain Flames for 2. Guess I'll play another. It wouldn't be super crazy to play out both Selfless Spirits. But it's also just not very good. Like I said, my opponent could just play like a Glimmer of Genius to kill one. That would feel awful. And I'd only be getting in like 2 damage, so. Maybe because of the Weaver of Lightning, I'm actually supposed to keep in 2 of my Always Watchings. Hopefully this doesn't end poorly. A counterspell would have actually been really good there. Counter your Selfless Spirit, ping your other one. What is this? It's probably something that's going to shoot something. Ugh. Well, this is what I was worried about. All right, so I put these in 2 piles. Oh no, he puts them in 2 piles. I think I'd rather have him get the Gear Hulk and the Aether Hub, rather than more pingers than a thing in the ice. It's going to be bad, though. Oh, yes, it's going to be bad. Yeah, always watching actually seems pretty great. Oh, jeez. It's got reach. I forgot again. Oh, it's so bad. So bad. Now if he has a counterspell here, I'm super Dobbs. So, I don't really know why he's flashing this in now. He can't negate anything. Just going to cast Epiphany for 0. So, this will flip my Avacyn. Great. And I'll lose my Depala. Well, I've got a big Avacyn. See if my opponent has a Harness Lightning here. Because he has an energy. No, that wouldn't work, because then it wouldn't flip. I wonder if what ways my opponent has to kill this Avacyn. Actually, I guess a Harness Lightning would still work, because he'd get the Weaver of Lightning trigger along with the energy he has already stored up. Now 2 energy. Yep. See if he does it for 4 or 5. Oh, he knows to do it for 4. Oh, this is looking pretty bad. Here I did mulligan, and I was on the draw. So I would expect a game to look pretty bad in that situation. I get like a Copter? No. Actually, I think this game I only... No, I did mulligan to 5. Did I? I forget. Funnily enough, if I could draw a Gideon, well, wondering if your is actually going to be kind of annoying, but I was going to say if I could draw a Gideon, I might be able to pseudo-stabilize for a little bit. It's not a Gideon. Yes, I'm going to play my guy even though it can get pinged. I have nothing to gain by holding it back at this point. My opponent has any spells in his mono spell deck. Alright, we're out of here. And on to the next one. Okay, so do I want these always watchings? They certainly seem like they could have a lot of value. I feel like if I play them, they're at the cost of a Stasis Snare. It's a little too easy for my opponent to actually use this Avacyn against me. So I think I'm going to go like this. We'll see how that goes. This is certainly a good curve. Always watching would be great in this hand. Notably, if my opponent has a Weaver of Lightning. Oh, wow, that's good. I don't think I'm going to hold back a land drop for it, though. Having that Chandra in my hand makes me feel a lot more comfortable. Mildly annoying, but I can handle it. Alright, so I have some options here. I can play the Depala this turn, but if I play the Depala this turn, it means I won't be able to kill the thing in the ice on the following turn. Do have to worry about something like Void Shatter or Negate. I think because I can still use the mana to make a clue. I'm going to go for this. There's just high reward, such high reward for landing this Chandra. It's like a game-winning move, so I'm going to try to go for it. We'll have to see how things are on my turn, though. If I might have some better options, considering my opponent's leaving all of his mana open. Alright, now that we're here, I think I'm just going to play this Depala. Well, Negate's good to know about. So I'm almost certainly just going to give him whatever pile has one card in it. And yep, you get a negate. We'll see what my opponent can do here. I have enough mana where I'm hoping that I can find a spot where I can play this with when my opponent doesn't have that negate mana open, but I don't want to give him 2 cards. Knowing about the negate makes it a lot worse. And we'll see what we can do here. Also, because I gave him the negate, he may think that I just don't have a... oh, that's annoying. And unfortunately, I'm just going to have to let her go. Now this is starting to get a little dicey. Sometimes I wish this red-white vehicles deck had like a little bit of reach in it. Oh, don't like that. My opponent still has negate mana open. So I wonder what happens if I just attack with everything other than the Selfless Spirit. It'd be really nice if I had just something to bait out the whatchamacallit with. So you can bounce my board if it's going to be hard for him to kill it. We'll see if my opponent has a another land here. So a little sketchy about this is even if my opponent doesn't have a land or his land came into play tapped, still have to worry about an Epiphany of the Drowning Yard for 0 or a Galvanic Bombardment being able to flip this thing in the ice. Well, looks like he's going to flip his thing in the ice. Yep, he's going to flip his thing in the ice. And I think he could have stacked that so the Weaver of Lightning would have happened first. But I guess all my guys are indestructible anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So my opponent will be able to get a big hit. But I will be able to land this Chandra underneath negate and play some blockers. And there's always watching. And I could play Thraben Inspector and Depala if I wanted. Or Thraben Inspector and Selfless Spirit. If I play double Thraben Inspector, I might be able to get in 2 damage, but I'd have to worry about Kozilek's return. 4 of my opponent's cards are unknown. I think with the Selfless Spirit, it's a little too easy for him to kill for free. I think I do. I think this is like my path to victory. Stasis Snare would be great, but no such luck. I think it's like the 2 damage could be relevant. Really wish this Inspiring Vantage came into play untapped. Playing 2 Thraben Inspectors there would be real nice. So at least my Chandra's still alive. That part's cool. I'm going to be able to kill this Weaver of Lightning, I think. Unless my opponent burns out this Chandra right now. But I actually haven't seen like a lot of Incendiary Flow or Fiery Temper or Collective Defiance type cards. Ooh, and another Chandra. Let's see. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. I think I just play everything. See if this always watching elicits a counterspell or not. Negate? Because I'm leading with it, my opponent knows that there's a chance it's just trying to bait out the negate. This will hopefully clear the way for a Chandra, something more powerful. And I don't actually think the 1 damage is worth it. So I can just chump block this Awoken Horror. That'd be pretty nice. Alright, and here's another Weaver of Lightning. Don't actually care about it, I don't think. And it'd be pretty wild if I actually just can overpower this Awoken Horror. So that would just die. So I think I'm not going to cast it. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I'll attack with my Depala. Copter's a nice pickup. Oh. See, my opponent has another spell this turn. I think the odds are good. Wow, and he can't finish off my Depala. That's sweet. My opponent will have an opportunity to kill my Chandra if he wants to fire up the Wandering Fumarole. It looks like he doesn't. I will happily block. A Gideon ally of Zendikar would be such a nice top deck. I have to imagine my opponent's building up to like a real big Epiphany at the Drown Yard at some point, but hasn't shown up yet. Oh, Stasis Snare is real good. Wow, we could have an epic turn here. Four, 7. There's 2 open. So if I can kill this thing in the ice. And then play another Chandra. Will we let this resolve? Is there a Gear Hulk? Negate. So I don't think I want to attack, so my opponent could potentially activate his Wandering Fumarole and block with both. So, but I think this is a good chance for me to get rid of this Awaken Horror. Since it is basically an Abyss. And I'll be able to crack a Clue. And I'll basically be ahead on cards, although this Weaver of Lightning is still a minor source of card advantage, depending on what I draw. Got a real gunfight here, though. What a sick game. If my opponent ever draws a Epiphany at the Drown Yard, though, it's going to be brutal. And because I have another Depala in hand, I think I'm fine doing this. Oh, that's so good! Crazy! So I'll play this first. What a rip. Unbelievable. What a turnaround this game has had. I guess I should play the land because of my Depala. And I have some options. I think that I'm just going to shove. If my opponent has a Torrential Gearhulk off the top, it's obviously going to be bad. But I think there's a good chance that he just, you know, doesn't have anything particularly good. And this Gideon's a 2-turn clock by himself. And I think it's just my fastest, most efficient way to end the game. Whoa! And we are reloaded. This is a huge hit. Wow, and just like that, I go from empty board to Depala Gideon to opponents at 1 life, him at nothing, me with huge board. Crazy game. And that is not going to be enough. Unbelievable. Does he have some super fog? Wow, that was definitely one for the ages. Super sick. On to the next one.